Really excited to show you guys this. I've been working non-stop for the past 2 days and I've completely rewritten my Stalker extractor scripts and improved them in ways, well, you're just gonna have to see and find out, all right? So on the left here we've got the new program, and on the right we've got the P drive where I've got my mod project folder, and inside here I've got all of what will become PBO files. All these will become the PBO files. And then they're just empty right now, so I've just got a DayZ folder in my assets, and then in my textures folder I've got data, and nothing's in there, nothing's in here. Again, everything's just empty right now. RVMATs. I like to split everything up because what I'm planning is a full conversion of the Stalker games. So in order to do that, we've got to deal with a 2 GB PBO limit. This is why we've got all our CO textures in here, NOHQ in here, SMDIs in here, and then if we do AS textures, if we do them as well, then there'll be another PBO for that. And then the terrain folder itself is actually in here. So if we go to my E drive, you see I've got the hybrid SDK just in the root. Now it's important that you have it in the root of any hard drive, doesn't matter what, as long as it's in the root, because that's what the scripts are expecting. And then in here we've got the raw data, game data from the latest anomaly version, which means you've got all of the Stalker level maps in here, decompile everything. I've already decompiled everything, so the SDK is basically set up ready to go out of the box. All you've got to do is put it in the root. A quick disclaimer before we begin: in order to mod or take any files from the Stalker games, you do, by law, have to own the games either on Steam or on COG Galaxy, which is where I own them. As long as you own a copy of the games, you are allowed to take content from them. And I'm talking about the old games here. I'm not talking about the new Stalker game that's just came out. The I'm not sure on the terms and conditions of that game, so I can't advise you either way. But as you can see, where are they? I own all 3 of the Stalker games enhanced editions. So I'm good. And I'd like to say a big thank you as well to GSC Game Studios for allowing us modders the opportunity to work with your content and port it out into other games. No other game studio in the world that I know of allows that kind of thing to happen. So you guys, you've got to really one up on the community for that. And also thank you to Yuri from the GSC legal team for all your help in the emails and your advice on how to handle this. If you want to extract terrains, run the terrain extractor. If you want to extract objects, you can skip that one and start with this one. But as just an example, I'm going to show you the terrain extractor first. So we'll run this one. Ready to begin the checks. It's going to do a series of checks to validate that you have everything that you need. If you don't, it'll tell you what you need. Like Blender 3.6, for example. You need 3.6 because if you go over 3.6, it's not going to work. 3.6 is the last version with command line support for OBJ format. Okay, now it's going to check Python. Obviously, you need Python to run the Python scripts. It's going to check now the Python add-ons. And if you have any missing add-ons that we're using in any of my scripts, it's going to tell you to install them. Just type yes. And if you look in here, there'll be a new text document also that's generated. And this basically is telling you the command if you wanted to do it manually. But it'll delete after you just type yes. Install the missing packages. It should say there's a version mismatch, but it's fine. We're already satisfied the requirements. And now all we need to do is enter the Stalker level name. Now to find the Stalker level name, again, go back to the SDK, right? And then go to the raw data. Is it levels? Yes, it's levels. And then these are all your level names for all of the different levels we've got. Okay, we're going to use the level 1 for our example here. Okay, what did that say? SDK installation found, and it's found the level. Begin the terrain extraction, yes. Terrain extraction successful. Convert terrain object, yes. Object to OBJ, so Blender can read it, basically. Now it's asking, do we want to copy and convert the textures and update MTL file paths? This is so we can generate our sat map, basically. using the terrain textures. So tip yes for that. Now it's going to ask, do you want to generate the height map, which is the what we'll use in DayZ's terrain builder to generate our actual map terrain itself. Because in DayZ it uses height maps, in Stalker it uses models. So we're gonna use raycasting to make a precise, to generate a precise height map from the actual model itself. Very cool, right? So we'll let it do its thing here. Blender quit all tasks completed, check output and logs. Okay. So now if we go to our output folder, we'll have a new terrain folder and then a level name folder, because obviously you can do this for multiple levels and you don't want to overwrite your same files, right? So go into this, and now we've got the height map PNG, which we can use for L3DT to generate our actual what is it, ASC file that DayZ uses. I forget the actual format, but we'll do that. And now in here you want to do a range of 1 meter on the horizontal scale, and then you can go right click, export, and then you want to put that in DayZ format, which is ASC, and then give it a file name, and then you can import that into Terrain Builder. And if we look in my terrains, source, terrain maps, I've already got one right here. And also you can then generate your normal map and your surface mask using L3DT Pro as well. But the actual satellite map itself is going to be in the output textures, output terrain, level name, textures folder. And this is actually going to be your sat map. You'll just convert that to something what DayZ uses. I think it's BMP. Yep, there it is. And you can edit it and get rid of these black holes where the buildings were, and then save it as BMP. And then let's take a look how that looks in Terrain Builder. So we open our project, source, Terrain Builder, project file. And you import them and line them all up. And if you do it just right, you'll see everything is lined up exactly. I mean, you can't get more precise than that. This is the surface mask, right? So this first one is the sat map with the ground map texture. And I'm just fading it down so you can see exactly how we've lined everything up here. So I'll turn that one off, and then we'll do the same with the surface mask. You see that? That's showing you now the normal map. And hide the normal map. Now we're transitioning from the normal map to the height map. Look at that. You can't get it any closer than that. Okay, let's boot up Bulldozer and see how it looks. It's not going to be perfect. You are going to have to smooth some things out, especially where, you know, the buildings were. There's going to be big holes in the terrain. But for an automated process, it's fucking close. It's very close, very precise. Okay, here we go, we're in. Look at the accuracy. Now, these holes in the map here, these are where buildings were, and they'll have also had like models and tunnels. Like for example, there was a tunnel going through here. Obviously DayZ can't do that, so you're going to have to manually delete this part of the terrain here, and then put a fake terrain spline over it so that you can basically fake the tunnel. And I think the same over, where are we? Yeah, the same right here. There's a tunnel that goes under the road. What you're going to have to do again is you're going to have to delete the terrain here and put a fake spline over it. And fill in all the holes, the missing holes from the buildings, and you've got a one-to-one exact replica of Cordon or South KP, depending on which name you go by. These bricks in the corners of the map, you can just delete those. And then move on to the next one, and then just join them up as you see fit. Connect the roads, join the various different terrains up, and you'll have the full map in DayZ. Okay, moving on. Now we get to the fun part. This is where the scripts really start to shine. We'll extract our objects first, enter the stalker name, and it's saved the data that we need to the text files in the logs folder, in the objects folder, level name, models to convert, and also we've passed the object placements from the level scene. So now we have a list of every object, right, and all their positions and orientations as well. So we can later use that. We can use that later to generate a terrain builder file that we can then import and have all the objects done automatically as well. How cool is that? So models to convert. This is just a list of all of the different models that it needs to convert. And after we've done extract objects, we'll convert them. So again, we're going to enter the level name. Every time you do this, you've got to enter the level name. Basically, that allows you to be able to reuse the tool over and over again for all the other levels. That's why we're not assuming the level name. Now what this is doing is, this is going through all the object files that we've got in our logs, and it's going to output them into the output objects level name, and here they are. All your object and all the OBJ and MTL files will be going inside this folder with the same name as they originally had in the Stalker game, so you can track them. In level 1, I know already that there's 2048 items, so we should be done any second now. There we go. We're done 4096, including all the MTL files as well. So we've done that. We've got all the objects now and the material files in our output folder. Now we need to center the meshes, because what we've done is we've exported all the objects at the same position and orientation as they were in the Stalker game. So we need to format every single model now and center it to the scene and make it stand upright and face forward, that kind of thing. So we'll run this bat file to center the meshes. Leave this blank so we can overwrite the originals. I put that there in case you want to do a backup. Okay, it looks like it's done the center meshes now. So now if we opened any of the models, they will be center screen, front and center, facing straight forward and straight up, just like a normal model should be. Now, I'm going to get on to the fun part, extracting the textures. Enter your level name. Again, we can't assume this. Now, would you like to convert your output textures from DDS to TGA? So what it's done is went in output, it's made a new folder called textures. It's got all of the textures and it's put them in the appropriate folder names that Stalker used, so we can organize them. And that's very important, because we can use these folder names as hints later to automatically generate our RVMATs based on a template for this name, for this name, for this name. You get what I mean? So these are all in DDS format right now. See the bricks, DDS. So what we'll want to do is we want to convert them to TGA. So we'll click yes. Subdirectory already exists, and now it's going to go through and convert everything in here from DDS to TGA format, which we can use for Blender and DayZ and that kind of thing. Done. Conversion log has been written in the logs, textures, level name, and then convert textures underscore log. Great. Now we need to fix the material files, path and file extension, because remember we've just converted all of these files from DDS to TGA, and the models themselves in the output objects, level name, model material, where is it? Here it is. These still say DDS, and they also still say hybrid SDK, game data textures. We don't want that. We need to patch these now. So that's what the next part of the script is going to do. Press any key to continue and it'll patch all those files. That was quick, right? Let's reopen this now. You can see TGA, and it's been set to the correct path as well. So now it's reading the textures, not from the SDK, now it's reading the textures from your output textures folder in here. Any key to continue. So now that we've extracted the textures, we need to create blend files, you know, for the models that we've made, just in case you wanted to. Actually, there was a few reasons that I sent them in from OBJ to blend to then go to P3D. There was a few issues with getting a P3D from OBJ, but I found a middle ground was if you resave the file as a .blend, you can very easily convert that to P3D on the command line. So create blender files now, and this will put in the output objects level name. So it's level 01 underscore escape, and it'll convert all of these into blend files. This will take a really long time for all 2048 items in level 1 escape. So I'll skip this part and come back when they're all generated. Okay, so that process is done now, and as you can see, it's generated all of our blend files. And if we can open these up now and check them out. Let's find a good one. This is the two barns. So part 1009, I know already what that is, so we'll open this one just to check everything's okay. And now we have it. The model's been moved to the very center of the scene. It's been orientated level, exactly how you need it. If we activate the textures, we can see our textures are all working. There we go. And we've even got all of the interior parts as well. How cool is that? Come on, you've got to give me a little credit for that. Look at that. You don't have to do all these individual models. Everything is included in the one model. Thankfully, with the recent DayZ update, we can just about get away with this with 99% of the Stalker models. But with this one and two others, for example, we're actually going to have to cut them in half and import them that way so we can get past the DayZ. What was it, 62k poly limit? Well, it's not really a poly limit, is it? It's based on something else, but I think it's around about 62k if your model is to a professional standard. These are ported from another game. You know, you're probably going to have to make sure that everything is working, the geometry is good and things like that. But for the most part, you can use them straight away. In 99% of them, you can use straight away. But these large models, you're going to have to split them up. So now we know that that's all working. We can close that process and go back to our root of the tool. And what did we just do? We created the blender files. So now we need to generate our NOHQ textures. What is an NOHQ texture? Now for DayZ, it's a normal map, and it's like a bump map. If you know anything about modeling and texturing, it's basically your bump map. So it'll be like pinky purpley color, and it will be responsible for showing all the little details and bumps on your models. And what we can generate these with is the Photoshop 2020 has a normal map generator. We'll use that, and it'll scan the outputs directory, the textures directory, and it will scan all of these. Did you notice something different in the name of the main texture? We've got the DayZ naming convention _CO added to all of the textures automatically. Now when it does the NOHQ one, it'll be _NOHQ. So let's run that now. But by the way, quick disclaimer, to use this process, you do have to set up a Photoshop action. So you've got to open Photoshop and record yourself doing it once, and then you can run this. And if we look in the data, this is where I keep all my scripts. So if we look in the data and the textures folder, and we have generate NOHQ, you can open up this. You can put your action name for Photoshop on line 8 and the set name on the previous line, line 7, okay? If you don't know how to make an action in Photoshop, just Google it or YouTube it. You'll find out really easily. Now, unless you know what you're doing, please don't touch anything in any of the data folders or subfolders, because these are all of the core scripts for the tool to actually work. These are all my scripts, so if you don't know what you're doing, please don't fucking touch these. Okay, so generate NOHQ textures, step 5 we're on. Let's do that. enter the level name. Obviously we need to put the level name every time. Can't assume that. Now that's going to open Photoshop and it's going to go through all the textures and make normal maps for those textures. So while it's doing, I'll probably fast forward the video. And there's 299 textures for level 1. Okay, we're on the last folder now, wood, so it shouldn't be much longer. And that process is completed now. If we go into our output, textures, bricks, or whatever, now we can see that we have, as well as our CO, or in most cases, you'll call this your diffuse texture, or your albedo, or whatever you want to call it. Instead, for DayZ, we just call it the _CO. So the CO texture, and you've got, for each CO texture, you've got an NOHQ, which is a normal map. And because we used Photoshop to generate our normal map, it's not going to be compatible with DayZ right away, but I've got another script that we can run. There we go, that's what it looks like. Now I've got another script that we can run to basically reverse this image and make it compatible with DayZ. So let's OK to continue. And let's go back to the root. What was that? NOHQ. So let's do our generate SMDI textures now. What this is going to do is, if we go to textures, generate SMDI, we can actually read the script. Now it's going to take these material hints here. Now if you notice, what I've done here is these are all of the texture folder names that Stalker has. So if we go back to our output and our textures, you can see it matches the folder names here. And that's how we can basically generate different configurations for our SMDI. And I do the same, I do a very similar thing with the RVMATs as well. So to generate the RVMATs automatically, we take a template based off of these folder name hints, and then you put in what you would like them to be. I've not tweaked any of these values yet, so this is just like very raw kind of thing. I've tweaked a few of them, not many. You can tweak as you like. So let's generate the SMDI textures. Sorry, there's a fucking truck going past. Level 1 _ escape for the level name. Subdirectory already exists. Okay, so that process is done. It's generated 299 SMDI textures, skipped 0, errored on 0. And the log has also been written as well. Perfect. So now we've got output textures, SMDI textures. Now this is where the really fun stuff happens. So now we're going to copy the textures over from our output textures. All of the subfolders in here, they will also get copied over, and they will go into our mod folder now, so we don't have to do that manually. Level 1 _ escape. Enter your CO mods data folder. So for ours, it's going to be anomaly Z, level 1 _ escape _ CO. Drag on the data folder, and then press enter. Enter your NHQ folder. Again, that's this one. So we'll do that. Enter your SMDI folder. Now, the reason that we've put all our textures in separate folders that will become PBOs is to get around the DayZ maximum 2 GB per PBO file limit. SMDI, and away it goes. Yeah, it's copied them all over. There's 294 NOHQ textures because I think 4 or 5 of them aren't. It's like a 1 pixel thing, you know. I think it's probably from a menu or something from Stalker, so don't worry about that. I've already checked. Now we need to run the fix NOHQ texture script, because remember earlier I said when we generated our normal textures, our bump maps, it wasn't compatible with DayZ because we used the Photoshop plugin. Well, what this is going to do is it's going to, well, you can read in the data script folders and you can read exactly what the script does, but it's going to fix the image and make it compatible with DayZ. Basically, it inverts the image and does something to the channels. And that's done. Generate RVMATs. Now, again, what I was telling you before, go into the textures and read the script. Where are we? Generate RVMATs. We're making a template based on the texture folder names. So for wood, you'll put in your values for the specular, emissive, force diffused, and then this is the default. So if there's any textures that you haven't defined that outside of these folders, then they will take on these default values here. So again, you can open this and edit the values as you so choose to make your textures look just that much great. Let's generate our RVMATs now. The level name, mods.co folder, nohq folder. No, that's wrong. My mistake. Let me delete that. You need to put in the... Actually, you know what? It searches recursively, so that would have worked anyway. SMDI folder. And the RVMAT folder itself, where you want your RVMATs to be stored. Subdirectory already exists, created. That's a lot of RVMATs. And now if we look in the RVMAT data folder, we can see we've got all our RVMATs categorized in exactly the same way as our textures have been. And they've also been given the same names as the materials so that we can use them to apply it to the model. If we open it up, our directory has automatically been put in, you know, for our mod. And the P has been automatically taken away as well. Great. And it's also added the .paa extension onto them. Even though we haven't converted our textures yet, it's already done that step for us. To make things easier, generate RVMAT. So now we need to generate resolution LODs. Now, what are resolution LODs? Resolution LODs are basically different variations of your model seen in a video game environment at various distances. It's how video games can have so many models in the scene and not blow up your computer. They basically reduces the resolution the further away you get from the model. Most video games do that. In fact, I'm pretty sure all video games that have 3D models are doing that now. So we'll do that, and we also get a few options with this as well. So we can choose the number of LOD levels to generate. I'm going to say 10 is a good number, and it will also decimate the LODs evenly as well. You can open the script if you would like to tweak the decimation ratio, and you can totally do that, but I've done it as evenly as I could. Might not look that good in game, but it will be optimized so that even people playing on potato PCs can use it. For LOD 1 and LOD 2, sorry, LOD 0 and LOD 1 in computer terms, I didn't do any decimation because I didn't want it to be too jarring in game. I didn't want the player to actually see the resolution of the model changing until they were like really, really far away, and then, by then you wouldn't really notice it. So probably about, I think, I would estimate to be about 50 meters, maybe 60, 70 meters, and then it will start to decrease the resolution of the model. And that's because I didn't do any decimation on 0 and 1. This is going to take a while, so I'm going to stop the video here and come back to it once it's done. Okay, so now that's finished generating the resolution LODs and saved all of the blend files again. One quick thing I wanted to mention was if you did want to edit any of the models, you should do so before you run step 9, generate resolution LODs, because when you generate your resolution LODs, it's duplicating your model's main LOD, like base LOD, the mesh basically. And then it's duplicating that a bunch of times, and then however many times you want, and then it's, you know, decimating them down. So if you do want to edit your model, you've got to do it before this step, otherwise your model is going to be pretty messed up. Okay, so we can continue now to generate other LODs and properties. Now what this does is it generates the LODs that DayZ requires for their models to work specifically. So Arma, DayZ, any of those games. We're talking about geometry, fire geometry, view geometry. Now geometry is for things like collision, and your view geometry, now that's for things like AI vision. So like if they won't be able to see you behind a building, for example, if you would have your view geometry LOD. And then we've also got fire geometry, and that LOD is responsible for bullets and hit sounds and things like that. And finally, I think we've got a memory LOD possibly in there as well, generating. And we'll find out when I open the P3D anyway. So we'll run this step now, generate the other LODs, put our level name in, level 1 escape. And that's going to run through all of the blend files again and generate all of the required LODs. I'll come back when that's done. And one other quick thing I mention as well is it's also adding the required named properties as well. So you've got auto center, things like that, like what class it is, class house, I think, or map building, that kind of thing. And in a future version, I'm going to change that so that it will define those properties based on what the actual model is. And again, like we did before with the other templates where we had a configuration based on the texture names mod folder, we'll probably do something like that as well. Okay, so it looks like it's generated other LODs and properties and name properties and stuff now. So if you want, you can go in and check that, but I'm just going to skip that step and I'm going to go to the convert blend to P3D one, and then I'll open it and show you. Now this one is important. This is where all the magic happens. It's gonna do a lot of stuff here. It's gonna set your model up to be compatible with DayZ by giving it the Arma object properties. It's going to give the textures. It's assign all the textures, which you know we have in here, and our NOHQ and our SMDIs, and it's also going to assign all your RVMATs to the materials that it matches with the names. You understand me? So it's quite a powerful little script, this one. So we'll run this to convert them. Enter our level name, RVMAT location, the data folder. Yeah. Oh, sorry. There we go. The CO textures data folder, because you could have yours was going to be named differently to mine, obviously. And then we want an output folder for our P3D files. Now I like to keep my models separate from all the textures just because of the file limitations of DayZ, the 2 GB limitations on each PBO. So each one of these folders, they will become a PBO. So this will be the models for the level 1 escape asset in the DayZ folder. There's nothing in here currently, so I'll put that in there. We'll go in here for now so we can watch them all populate. And hit that. And now it's going to do all of its magic and start creating our lovely DayZ/Arma compatible P3D files. All the textures been assigned, all the RVMATs have been assigned. The RVMATs have been automatically generated with correct paths to the PAA textures. Now this is going to take a while because it's actually converting and doing a lot of stuff here to make these Blender models, objects, meshes compatible with DayZ.P3D. And these are unbinarized P3Ds as well, so we can open these after. Actually, I'll open one. No, I won't open them yet. I'm waiting for a specific object to be done that I want to show you. You know the barns we were looking at before? That's 1009. So I'll come back when we've hit 1009, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so it looks like that process is finished now. I can press any key to continue. And that was the final process. So now we can check out some of our P3Ds. As you can see, in the level 1 escape, or as some people know it as cordon or South KP in Stalker, the object count in that whole level is around 2048 objects in total. Not all of them you're going to actually use, because some of them will be like fake collision objects and things like that, like barriers and to guide the players, and so you probably won't need like a few of these, but most of them you will need. And it's not every single instance of an object, it's every object itself. Okay, so what that means is there's not gonna be like double models of the same model in here. Okay, it's gonna have the same model. So let's just find 1009, because I know what that is already, and we'll open that in Object Builder to make sure everything is. Oh look, we've got the classic Object Builder bug. Okay, let's go Add-on Builder first, close that shit, and then go Object Builder. There we go. For some reason that's a strange bug that happens now and again. And we'll just open up 1009 P3D. These are all the P3Ds that the script's just generated. And there it is. And that is the 2 barns that we were looking at before. See if I can remember the controls for this text editor. Oh, I've got to enable DirectX mode. Never mind. So we can check that the textures have been assigned if we press select all and open the face properties. Okay, so as you can see in the face properties, my tool has assigned all of the textures, you know, the _CO textures, and all of the RVMAT materials to all of your face material, all of your faces in your mesh, all automatically with just a few clicks. And not only that, but if you look down in our LODs menu, we've got all of the different resolution LODs. So we can go all the way down to 5. You can see the faces and the points drop down to 9, even further, and then to 10, which is the furthest. And then we've got our geometry LOD, which also has the correct property name, house, class, map, building, auto center 0, blah blah blah. You've got the memory LOD. Back into the geometry LOD real quick. What I've done here, I'm not automatically generating your geometry, right? Because that's really advanced. So I've just put a basic cube here for now. You're still going to have to do your own geometry, so there is going to be some work there. There are some scripts that I've also got that can generate geometry, which I'm working on for a future release. So we'll see how that goes, but again, it is very advanced, so it might take a while for that. You've got your memory LOD and view geometry and fire geometry. So essentially, it's practically done all of the hard work for you all already. And that's kind of like what it looks like in game. We're not on the first geometry LOD here because again, remember I told you this is a big model. You're gonna have to split it up. So we are on, I think, 3 or 4 res LOD. And you can play with the RVMAT generator because that metal there looks a bit too shiny for me. So I'll play with that still, and I'll keep refining it so it gets the materials perfect and it doesn't look all shiny like that. But yeah, I think it's not bad for 2 or 3 days sitting at the computer. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you're looking forward to the release. The first part of the tool, the terrain extractor, that's already released for my Patreons currently, so you can get that if you're in my Patreon club. But it will be released to the public in a month, about a month. Yeah, that's usually what I do. I release to my VIPs for a month and then to the public the following month. And then these scripts are not going to be included yet because I'm still refining them and making things perfect. Like I was saying about, the RVMAT generator and the geometry LOD generator. We haven't got that either. And then the next stage of the pipeline will be to parse the objects. Is it? No, log. Objects. Object placements. We've just grabbed this from your level file of Stalker, and this will tell us the locations and positions and orientations of all the models, and we'll use this to generate a terrain builder import file that we can then use to bring all the models into terrain builder for DayZ and place them exactly where they need to go, basically. To match the Stalker game. So you'll basically have a one-to-one map recreation of the game in DayZ if you want. And you can read through the scripts and they can be adapted for other things as well. Like the terrain extractor, for example, this can be used for not just turning Stalker models into terrains, but you could, in theory, turn any model you've got into a terrain if you wanted to. With a few modifications, you could totally do that. Tell it to take .blend files instead of Stalker object files, and then you're golden. I mean, I can even put out an alternate version for that if anybody's interested. So yeah, like I said, if you want the terrain extractor now, join the Patreon club. It's in the channel right now. You can use it and tell me how you get on, if you have any bugs or anything like that. Or just wait a month and it'll be out. These other scripts will be out in a few months. Not sure. Like I said, I've got to tweak them a bit, and I'm not really 100% happy with some of them, like the RVMAT generators and stuff, but it'll get there. You can join my Discord here, where I have all the announcements, and if you would like to support the project, I also accept donations through PayPal or Patreon or whatever you prefer. And the terrain generator is in this channel here. Patreon pre-release tools, terrain generator, instructions on how to use it, requirements, that kind of thing. And then it's right here, version 2.4.zip. And you just read through everything you need to use it, and you should be good. But if you do have any bugs, just let me know, and I'll do my best to fix them. Thanks for watching and checking out my sneaky peeky at my cheeky breeky stalky extractor. and I hope you have a nice day.